Okay, here we go. Hello, everyone. My name is Abe. I'm the owner and developer of potatoesandrice.com, a place where gay Asians and gay whites can meet. And with me in this video, I have both Andy Bartolo Brooks and Eddie Bartolo Brooks.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone.
They met on the website, and they're going to tell us a little bit about themselves and how they're doing. They're now happily married and living in the UK. So first question is, either one of you or both of you can answer this. When did you first meet, and how did that meeting come about?
Well, this is an interesting story, and it fits in quite nicely with potatoes and rice, actually. So I was sitting exactly where I'm sitting now, and I was looking for a particular potato.
Potato?
A potato. So I went online, in Google and searched for, it's called an Anya potato. It was one of my favorite potatoes. So I'm going to cut this story a little bit short because I want to bore people with potatoes. So I went on this website and I thought it was called Potatoes and Rice. It's the first website I hit. And I thought, oh, God, this must be some sort of delicatessen. But specializing in potatoes, specializing in rice. And little did I know it was actually a dating website. So, I was single at the time and I thought I was quite curious. So I had a look around the website and I just came across Eddie by chance within about 10 minutes. And the thing that stood out with him was very much the fact that he wanted to meet someone who was genuine. There's, not a one-night stand and blah, blah, blah. And that's what I was looking for, to be honest with you. So I took a chance and I sort of connected with him. So that's the story in a nutshell. So I went from looking for potatoes to connecting with Eddie. And this was in a spate of probably around 15 minutes.
And how long ago or what time, when was this actually?
So this would have been 2018, November 2018.
First week of, it's exactly 4th of November. It's Sunday in the Philippines. I think it's Saturday in UK. I'm not sure. Yeah, I remember it's Sunday in UK and we were having some family gatherings. I've been drinking with my family and suddenly some message from Potatoes and Rice appeared and I just read it and replied through Messenger. And that's it. Excellent. History starts.
So anyway, I actually connected to Eddie on the Saturday. I think it was Saturday morning, and I didn't hear anything. And I was out having some coffee, some breakfast in a park that's nearby, which is just opened actually. It's an old manor house that has got this sort of cafe and stuff like that. And suddenly there was a connection. Hi, Andy, this is Eddie. Nice to meet you. And as that turned out, that was the venue where we got married.
Oh, excellent. Okay. So how long, Andy, before you knew that Eddie was the one for you?
About 5 minutes.
In 5 minutes. Excellent.
Yeah, pretty. Well, yeah, a bit longer than that, but I knew pretty quickly, to be honest, Abe, that this was a genuine person. I'd been with some frogs. I don't know what you call it in Canada. The rest of the world, I don't know how you call it, but I've been through some challenging relationships. So you learn along the way, don't you? I mean, it's not the same as heterosexual people, as well. You do learn as you move through this path of life. But, I got to a stage in my life where I knew what I wanted and I knew a decent person. I trusted my instinct.
Excellent. How about you, Eddie? When did you know?
I think same. I was on a depression that time that, I am so desperate to have a relationship. And we've been talking every minute. So I know this person is really kind and genuine. So I know he's the one.
That's excellent.
Yes, it's really good. Yeah. It's
So,
unexplainable feeling, you know, when I met him that we having a conversation every minute. Even, you know, despite of the time difference between UK and the Philippines, he managed to send me a message every minute, which is I really appreciated.
oh, that's very nice. That's very nice.
Mm.
So, after you met, and of course, there's the challenge of having a long distance relationship, which is
Yes.
challenging, as we all know. How long did you guys know each other or chat with each other before Andy actually visited you in the Philippines?
Well, I think, you know, pre-COVID and you know, everything, when the life was easy, you know, I sort of already made a plan that I needed to go to the Philippines to actually meet in person. So so we met in November, and I flew out in January, so just the end of January, to meet Eddie.
Okay, so you didn't waste any time. That's awesome.
No.
Okay.
Just a couple of months and that's it.
Sorry, my dog Bailey has something to say too. So
Oh, good. Hi, Bailey.
Hello there, dog.
Mario's going to take care of him or calm him down a bit.
It doesn't matter.
All right. So Eddie came to visit you in January 2019. I guess that is then, right?
2019, yes, yes.
And how was your family with all this? How did they accept him?
Actually, my friends and my family don't believe in me because, you know, especially Andy is in UK, they don't believe in me that, oh my God, you have a long distance relationship. It's just, you know, the common relationship that everyone have and ended up with nothing. But, you know, Andy is calm and my family is very happy because they knew Andy that is a genuine and a kind person. So at first, it's really hard to accept, but at the end, they accept us
Oh, that's
because they
excellent.
trust us. Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's a huge thing to be accepted. You know, it's
It
Yeah, and
is.
I'm going to share a little story with you. So
Sure.
the day I met the family, I turned up in like a town square in the middle of the Philippines. You know, so it's not Manila. It's called Das Marinas, and this little village called San Luis. And I sort of turned up in a taxi. And I got out the taxi, and it reminded me very much of those of you got people out there that remember the Bob Geldof pre-Live Aid. You know, he went to Ethiopia, and all these kids came out, and it was reminding me a little bit of that, and it was quite totally overwhelming. But the more overwhelming part for me was very much entering that family Bartolo house, and there was "Welcome Andy" on the wall.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and there was a big party going on, karaoke, which is very young. I think Abe and Mary, you know that karaoke is a big part of Philippine life, social life, and there's
Yes, it is.
karaoke going on, and I was welcomed so much. They did some food and stuff, and I very quickly felt very, very comfortable.
That's excellent. Yes, that's you know, it could have gone either way, right?
They could have done, you know.
Yeah.
I think back. You're quite right, Abe. I think back of that whole thing. It could have gone horrendously wrong.
I'm glad
You
it
know,
did.
you take some chances in life.
Yep,
Some
absolutely.
work, some don't. But you know,
If you
I
don't
think
take
you
the
got to follow
chance,
your instinct. You got to follow your instinct to some extent.
yeah. If you don't take the chance, you'll always wonder what if.
Exactly.
Mm,
So, all right. So
exactly.
after your visit, then it was time to think about sponsoring,
Yeah.
Mm.
getting Eddie over to the UK. Can you speak a bit about that process?
Okay. This is the first time I'd gone through anything like this before, and the advice I want to give everybody that's watching this is actually make sure you absolutely follow the process to the letter. If you've got something to hide, forget it. If you've got everything, in place, if they ask for bank statements, if they ask for 6 months of bank statements, if they ask for this, if they ask for that, make sure you have it.
Mhm.
I ended up with a load of documentation with this whole process that we need to put together. It took a long time. Actually, there's a lot of, you're going to need to go through a lot of documentation process. Make sure that you have everything, you follow the letter. If you have nothing to hide, you're going to be fine.
Yeah. Make sure all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted.
Absolutely, absolutely. And now that took a little bit of time. Abe, sorry, I missed the original question. Was how long did it take?
Yeah, how long was that process? And
so the process. So I think, what was it?
End of February. We started from end of February until first week of April.
Yeah.
Oh, so almost
just a couple of months. Yes.
Oh,
to be honest with you, I paid a little bit. Okay, so I paid a little bit more for the services of a solicitor and an immigration officer. You can do it yourself, but I honestly would suggest for the fiance visa, that sort of thing, I would strongly suggest getting a solicitor to help you with that. You can do it yourself, but my advice is to make sure you really understand what the requirements are and get the paperwork together. Just to make sure you dot the I's, cross the T's, as Abe said there. Okay. We're going to share a little bit story with you if we have time about a problem that was overlooked with the whole process, but maybe that's for a later question, Abe.
Okay, so that was another question, is what kind of red tape did you run into?
Oh, great. That flows quite nicely. Okay, well, the red tape, so I paid quite a lot of money, and the solicitors in the UK, or the legal team in the UK, did a really good job. And we were successful in getting the visa secured for Eddy. There's a lovely video of him actually sitting in the toilet, opening the envelope with a successful visa in it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we got to the day when he flew out of the Philippines. So we are getting echo here, so I'm struggling to. Yeah, you got it. So we were struggling when we got to the airport, because suddenly I got a phone call saying I can't leave the Philippines.
Ooh.
And the problem was, I'll let Eddy explain what that problem was.
All right. I'm all ready and have my passport and my visa. Everything was ready. I have my luggage and everything. So I've been to Philippine immigration and they were check my visa. So I am okay because the UK gave me the fiancé visa and it's a multi-visa. So I can enter UK and I can go back to the Philippines as well. But unfortunately, UK government and Philippine government is there's some miscommunication with the two what they call that agencies, because they are not allowing me to leave my country without the sticker. It's called Commission on Filipino Overseas. So I need to have a wedding, what do you call it? A wedding seminar first before I leave my country, and give me the sticker so I can leave my country. They are not allowing me to leave the Philippines without the sticker from the government, because they call it CFO, what does the CFO means? Commission on Filipino Overseas. So we are on stress, let's say, because I am really ready. I told everyone, my friends, my family, that I'm leaving the Philippines. But unfortunately, they stopped me in immigration and I didn't fly.
So the caution, I'll be very cautious of that, because if you're using an agent to help you get out of the Philippines, London did everything. I thought they'd done really well, but what they didn't do was actually connect with the Philippines. And actually, when I approached the agent, which has great reviews, they said, well, that's a Philippine issue.
It is, yes.
So my advice to everybody that wants to come to here is to make sure the Philippine end is covered.
It must have been very disheartening for you guys.
It was. I mean, Eddy was bumped off the flight, but fortunately I booked economy with extra luggage, so I only had to pay another £80 to get him on an alternative flight. But unfortunately, he was due to fly on the Saturday, but didn't fly out to the Monday. But that's a caution for everyone. Just watch out for that. I mean, you may be watching this 3 or 4 years down the line. Things may change, but be cautious. Make sure everything is covered from both the area where you're going to and also the area you're leaving the Philippines.
So,
Or anywhere in Asia.
okay. So you two are married now. When were you actually engaged? Was it while you're still in the Philippines, Eddie, or when after you?
Yes, I'm still in the Philippines. It's actually a week after we met each other and online.
Oh, this is in
It's
February?
really, no, it's not February. We had engagement through online, and he proposed it to me again when we meet each other somewhere in Manila.
Oh, that's sweet. Oh, that's
So
very nice.
the first proposal was a week after we met each other online, and the second proposal was on when we see each other personally.
So did the engagement help with the immigration process? I guess because you're a fiance, right?
Yes.
Yes,
It's actually
yes.
vital for the immigration process to be granted the spouse visa. You need to present documentation, your wedding venue, that you had to prove that it's booked, and you had to prove that that Eddie's going to live at the address. They're going to for a certain period of time. But the proof that they really want is the wedding is booked.
Okay.
And then they will need to see the paperwork for that.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha.
They also ask for the genuine conversation from day to day.
Oh yes, of course. I mean, yes. If you going back to that important point that Eddie's just brought up here, they will want to see your WhatsApp messages.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that's the thing that's difficult for a lot of people to actually. So be very careful with that. Just make sure that you have sufficient evidence that your relationship is genuine.
Right. Did you have to get any kind of supporting letters from friends or family?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. So we had to get that as well. I had to get proof of employment, proof of salary. Now that's the big thing as well. Because proof of salary, I had to prove that I own over 18,000 UK sterling, UK pounds per year. Okay, it's quite a low amount of salary for a lot of people, but some people don't have that salary level, but they will look at that. If you can't prove, if you own, this sums it up really with how the immigration process in the UK. If you own £17,950, it's likely your visa won't be approved, even if you're £50 short.
See, Canada, we don't have that requirement. We only have the requirement saying we will be personally responsible for this person for 3 years. So it won't be a burden on the government.
There's a bit of that's covered with this financial statement that you have to make. It's just a slight different approach in the UK.
Okay, so after arriving in the UK, Eddie, how long was it after that you actually became married? What's your wedding date?
Oh, okay. So I arrived in UK middle of May.
13th of May.
Oh, 13th of May to be exact. And we got married on 29th of June. So in a month, we get married in a month. That's so quick. But the original date of our wedding was
August.
8th of August.
Oh.
But because I don't have family here in UK, so we decided to book it in advance, so I can have to find job as soon as I have the spouse visa.
Right. Yeah. How much of a culture shock was it for you arriving in the UK?
Culture shock, yeah. It's really different from my country. Philippines is a tropical country, and here when I arrived here, it's summer, luckily. But the most thing that I struggled was the British accent. So I'm still struggling at this moment. It's really hard to understand the British language. So
all right, mate.
Yeah.
Some of it, especially like a Cockney or something, is really, I have a hard time with it too.
Well, I have a bit of a layer of Cockney. You probably picked it up as well, but so a little bit of a. You're right, mate. How you doing?
I can hear that every day at work. You're right, mate.
Yeah. Okay. So Eddie, what was your experience meeting the family? How was that? How receptive were they to meeting you, and was it friendly? And
Of course, I'm so nervous at the first meeting. I saw them. I call them mom and sir, but they don't call it mom and sir. They just call their name. Just in UK, it's really different because Filipino are very polite when it comes to to the people. So we call our in-laws like mom and dad. But here in UK, you can just call them by their names.
right,
It's really strange for me because I was grew up with a polite family, and we always respect people. So for me, I can't just call them by their names. So I just need to call them mom and sir to respect them. So, well, back to the question, it's hard for them to accept me because the age difference. Maybe they're just thinking that I'm going to use Andy for
of course.
some reason. But I show them that how much I love Andy, and I show them that I respect them. I come with them to the grocery. I come with them for their hospital appointment. So they knew that I am a good person. So they accept me now. So they really love me, especially
Yeah,
his mom.
that's awesome.
Yeah, and Eddie's been here now for sort of a year and a half, and
Not year and a half.
well, whatever it is. I mean,
Over
and
here.
they a long time, and they really accept Eddie or Mum. Unfortunately, Dad passed away in November, but Dad got to know Eddie, and I'm gonna. You may want to cut this out. I don't care. I don't mind if you want to keep it in. But on his deathbed, just a few minutes before Dad passed away, he held Eddie's hand, and Eddie said to my dad. Well, Dad said to Eddie, "I'm dying," and Eddie said to Dad, "I'll always look after Andrew and Mum."
Wow,
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
that's a promise.
There's no reason to cut that out.
So I think that backs everything up, and that's something that will stay with me for the rest of my life.
That's
Yeah,
beautiful. Yeah, it's very nice. Thank you for sharing that.
of course.
So, let's see, what are we at here? How about the climate, Eddie? How does the winters there for you?
Ooh. For me, it's really good weather here. 4 seasons. I never experienced 4 seasons in my life.
Right.
Well, luckily, I work in the environment in the Philippines, which we only have 0 to 4 degrees Celsius. So winter, for me, it's a good weather.
Okay, you don't mind it, eh?
I don't mind cold. I actually like cold weather. I'm still actually working in a warehouse, which we only have 5 degrees Celsius, So it's really cold, and I need to wear 5 jackets a day, in a day, yeah.
Right.
And
Okay.
I have to say that was one of the things we spoke about before we recorded this. Was
Mm,
one of the big things I was worried about was Eddie, with the climate, and I thought, oh God,
climate.
he's going to be moaning about the rain because in Northern Hemisphere in the UK, we have a strange climate. Like I said to you, before we started this, 1 minute it can be 29 degrees, next day it can be 19 degrees
Yeah.
and pouring with rain. So, but he very much, and I'm sure Eddie will back me up on this, prefers the sort of cloudy skies and the coolness
Yes,
about 22, 23 degrees. So there you go.
Yeah, that's nice. Good for
it's
you.
my favorite weather.
Not everybody would be that adaptable, I would think.
Yeah.
Did you find it difficult to find work, Eddie, after you arrived?
It's actually not hard to find a job here as long as you have the good communication, and especially when you have experience on the work that you are applying for. It's not really hard. I tried to apply for a caregiver, but unfortunately I don't have experience on that field.
Hmm.
So I ended up with the same field that where I have experience.
Yeah, okay. And you're liking it?
Yes, of course. I've been working there for 8 months now. As a regular employee, yeah, one of the best employee.
Oh, of course you are.
Kidding, yeah. Yeah, of
Oh,
course, Filipino are very hardworking people, so
yes, I've
I'm
noticed
doing my job.
that. How do you find the environment there with immigrants?
Um, okay, that's an interesting question. With immigrants,
Some countries are worse than others in accepting, right?
Hmm.
Oh, this could get quite controversial here. I think the UK
Yeah,
is slightly racist.
yeah,
Is it?
yeah.
That's my feeling. I don't know whether I want to expand on that, but that's the feeling in my bones that I'm getting a little bit. I don't know whether it's just the pandemic and Brexit and all that sort of stuff. I'm still working on that one in my head.
Sure. Eddie, what about you? Have you felt any or experienced any problems with that?
Uh, just during the pandemic, because being Asian, they thought that you
You're
bring the
responsible.
virus in this country, which is really bad. That's why I'm having trouble sometimes going out alone, because when you see Asian people and they're just spreading around, and oh my God, they thought they were just thinking that you have the virus. It's really sad.
Really silly, isn't it? Wow.
It
Mm,
Yeah,
is.
that's happening worldwide, I think,
I
unfortunately.
think so. I
Mm.
think so.
Yeah. Wow. And speaking of pandemic, how are you both doing with that?
It's okay. I'm getting to a point when I'm getting slightly depressed. I thought, there was always a talk when it was coming down from
Curve.
that's it. Thank you, Abe. The curve. When it was coming down from the curve, I thought, oh, okay, we're going to get through this. But at the back of my head, there's going to be a second wave. And we are going through a second wave. I have friends in Victoria, in Australia, and they're not just only in lockdown, but actually in curfew, where they can't go out. The whole state in Australia cannot go out between the hours of I think 8:30 in the evening to 5:30 in the morning, and it's not something I'd see in their lifestyle. I mean, they're dealing with it with humor, but they're just the personality that they are. But I'm feeling slightly depressed,
Yeah. Well,
personally. I felt it today, and we both felt a little bit out of it, because you can't plan anything. We're going to Austria, or we're supposedly going to Austria, which we cancelled back in April, for the Christmas market. But nothing. I mean, nothing in life is set in stone. But holiday plans are generally, they happen. But even that now, we can't look forward to it. And I think that's look forward to anything. And I think that's half the problem. That's bringing people down. There's nothing to look forward to. There doesn't seem to be any end to this. It seems to be coming up again. It's now March, April, May, June, July. It's August now. It's 5 months, and there doesn't seem to be any end to it.
well, let's hope they come up with a vaccine or something soon, huh?
Yeah,
I
I'm
hope
just
so.
worried it
Yeah.
manifests itself into reinvents itself into something else. But we could talk about that
Yeah,
till
that's another
it gets
story.
dark in Canada.
Eddie, you're coping well with it. You're busy working. That helps, I guess. Huh?
Yes, I'm just working 4 days a week. So, for me, it's good to have a regular job, and I'm going to my job every 4 days. So it's still mentally depressing, because I am far away from my family. My
Yeah.
family is all over the world, in Oman, in Qatar, in the Philippines. So it's sad to think that we are far away from each other during this pandemic.
That was one of
It's
my
really
questions I
sad.
didn't ask you yet is like, was it really difficult for you leaving the Philippines, or were you so excited that it didn't, like you, of course, when you left, you had the idea in your mind you'd be coming back soon, but now it's
Yes,
uncertain,
but
right?
now it's really hard to think when we're going back. It's still possible to come back to the Philippines,
Hmm.
because there's no airport at the moment. They closed the borders in the Philippines again because of the second wave. That's so depressing. But, during the time that I leave the Philippines, everything is okay. So I don't have any idea that this COVID will come. So we're just thinking that after a week, after a month that we've been married here, we can come back to the Philippines. But I'm just thinking that what we're going to do in the Philippines, I don't have work yet, so I decided to stay here in the UK.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Well,
So
it's
we're not planning to go back to the Philippines because it's really hard to plan.
Well, we're doing more like staycations here, like just staying local and
Yeah, there's some
Staying
there's some new
local, yeah.
terms that have come out of this, Abe, isn't there? There's been staycations. What else? Well, there's loads of new words that have come out from all of this. But
so
staycations are good.
yeah, that's a good one. That's in fact, Mary and I are hoping next summer to, if things are still the same, we'll just travel by car to the next province over where my family is in Alberta,
Okay,
and he has friends and relatives there too. So we'll make a nice trip of that, going through the mountains and visiting them.
fantastic. And that's I'm sure you don't get much better than that in Canada.
Well, it's beautiful here. It's just yeah.
Yeah.
The
Do you
climate is
guys
beautiful.
like? Do you guys like? Sorry to interrupt. Do you guys like camping and staying in tents and stuff like that?
We did that last year. We bought
Mm.
all the gear and we went out. There's a place called Long Beach here on Vancouver Island.
Mm.
It's just gorgeous. And yeah, we stayed there for a full week camping and it was great.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
We,
no,
we didn't book it in time this year because, again, before you had to book it in January already. And at that time, the plan was a trip to the Philippines.
yeah.
So that's going to be Muriel's time off of work, but now that's
Mm.
canceled. So everything's kind of up in the air. So maybe this trip to Alberta will give us our vacation.
Yeah, and I love camping as well. So I'm thinking of buying a new tent and just pitching up and
Yeah. Well, we got
yeah,
a great big one, an 8-person tent you can stand up in and put a
yeah.
queen size bed in there and a table and chairs and
Wow.
big screen TV. No, just kidding.
Yeah, sounds like a party.
Yeah. So time's going on here. Any final words that you want to pass on to any potatoes and rice members?
Yeah, I mean, all I'll say is that be honest, be honest, be
Just be
kind,
honest.
and be open. Don't lie. Just be kind and be compassionate. And yeah, that's what I want to say.
Yeah,
There's a lot of dating websites out there, and there's a lot of people that are. I'm going to be brutally honest, out for a one night stand. I'm personally not. Well, my days of dating websites are over, but a lot of websites out there are just people out there for a one night stand. I'm sure potatoes and rice. I don't know how you filter that out, or if you can filter that out, but just be honest with each other. Follow your instinct, and yeah, that's all I want to say.
Yeah. We try really hard to keep it a clean website, and that's always been
Yeah.
our goal, is to not be a pickup site, not swapping dick pictures, not
definitely.
keeping it clean, and this is a place where friends can meet.
Well, that's very much what stood out for me, Abe, was I wanted the reason I pursued delving into this website was it wasn't dick pictures. It didn't seem to be that sort of play, and that's the feeling I got from a very early sort of search around that website for people. There was none of that going on. I'm sure there's a bit of it, but there seem to be genuine people, and certainly you've given me via that website, Eddie, and I thank Potatoes and Rice for that.
Thank you.
All right, guys, I really appreciate your time. I'm going to stop the recording. If you could just hold on for a few minutes here. And,
Sure.
Okay, no worries.
Thanks again.